because everybody else was mad at him. How the hell you going to work for Sam Cooke, be Sam Cooke's partner, and then you turn around and sleep with his widow and his daughter? And Ray Charles was like, child, I don't care nothing about that. Come on over here, guitar man. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tip your favorite narrator via Cash App at $NayRob on YouTube. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a monthly fee of $5, you can, yes, you'll be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue reading Brother Ray. In addition to Mr. Pitt and Miss Georgia, another couple was particularly fond of me. Henry Johnson and his wife, Miss Alice. When I first knew them, they owned a cafe with a jukebox far away in another section of town. That was another place where I spent lots of time listening to whatever music was being played in those years. Louis Jordan, Big Joe Turner, Erskine Hawkins, Tiny Bradshaw, Muddy Waters, Lucky Millender, Earl Hines, and Nat Cole. As a matter of fact, many times while I was at Mr. Johnson's, people came up to give me nickels to buy ice cream and candy. But instead of buying ice cream and candy, I always put the money in a jukebox. And if I didn't have any money, I'd wait for other people to put their nickels in. If there was a way to get to listen to music, I'd find it. Mr. Johnson had a car, and like Mr. Pitt, he sometimes let me drive. He'd sit next to me, telling me when I was swerving too much in one direction. By then, I was pretty good at it. After a while, Mr. Johnson and Miss Alice moved to Tallahassee, 40 miles west of Greensville, and I often went to visit them during the summer. Okay, pause, in the draws. What book did we read when we read that Ray Charles was flying a plane? What book was that? Was it Ray Charles or was it Stevie Wonder, y'all? And we was like, the blind man is flying the plane? Ray Charles, of course he flying a plane, because the niggas out here driving cars. So I remember one of you put it in the comment section a couple of videos back saying it was the Bobby Womack book. I remember that after Bobby Womack had slept with Sam Cooke's widow and then slept with Sam Cooke's daughter, Ray Charles was the only person that would give him a shot because everybody else was mad at him. How the hell you going to work for Sam Cooke, be Sam Cooke's partner, and then you turn around and sleep with his widow and his daughter? And Ray Charles was like, child, I don't care nothing about that. Come on over here, guitar man. I like to move around. Fact. I've always liked to move around and suspect I always will. Well, you are a Libra. We want to be free. Free. Does that mean free? This merge shit making me feel like I'm in chains. Shit. I had energy to burn, and whenever I could, I ran over to Tallahassee to visit the Johnsons. Met some other nice folk during that period, or maybe a little later. I think I was around 15 when I ran into a man called Mr. Bison. I called him Kitty Boo. He had a wife named Dolly and a daughter named Lucille. They ran a grocery store down the street from where the Johnsons lived, and I hung out there a lot. We were good friends, Lucille and I, though nothing more than that. Kitty Boo and Dolly were also very sweet to me, and it was at their store that I first learned how to use a cash register. Might seem like a little thing to you, but it made me feel awfully good to be able to ring up sales and give change to people. And that's how he was able to count his money and keep his money in order. Ain't this a mess? Man, it just... You know what they say, that human beings are just a summation of their life experiences. And this book is showing this. He is showing us who he is and how he became that person. Truly amazed. This book is much better than what I thought it was. Might seem like a little thing to you, but it made me feel awfully good to be able to ring up sales and give change to people. To this day, I can still tell you where the various keys on the register are placed. Lucille had the run of the store, and she'd often let me have moon pies or maybe some new grape or Truade orange soda. She and her mama and papa treated me like one of their own, and they were another reason I spent so much time in Tallahassee. That was my life until I was 15. 9 or 10 months in school, then the summer times in Greensville or Tallahassee. As I got older, I found more places in St. Augustine off campus where I could do a little damage, but I never did much. In those days, I was partying if I drank a bottle of beer in a bar. That was a big thing. Yeah, the state school for the blind was a no-nonsense operation, and the amount of sin and X was kept to a bare minimum. I never even heard the name of any drug while I was there, much less tried any. There was a lady who had a tavern in St. Augustine, and we went there 'cause she let us sit in the back room and served us beer. She had a piano, which I played for the crowd free of charge, and there was also a jukebox. So between the music and the smooching we'd be doing with the girls, everyone had a fine time. I had already discovered my weakness for women, and that tavern was one of the few places where I was able to do a little light loving. A couple of years later, maybe I was 12 or 13, I got my first little piece of vagina. As best as I can remember, it happened during the summer in Tallahassee. I was playing at a club, probably with Lawyers Smith's combo, singing like Charles Brown or Nat Cole. Those styles, had a certain romantic lure about them. Anyway, some gal dug my act. She had been hanging around, and it was after midnight when she came up to the bandstand. Now, I didn't know much, but I'd been listening to the older cats talking for a long time. You know how musicians talk? They just love to bullshit about screwing, and I always paid a whole lot of attention to that chatter. It was late, and I was sleepy. But suddenly I came to life when she said, "You want to play?" "Yes, ma'am, I want to play." "Sure enough, darling." "Oh my, do I?" "Indeed I do want to play. Hello, honey." I knew my time had come. And Jack, I didn't hesitate. She took me to a gas station where she whisked me into one of the restrooms. She had been juicing and was awfully anxious to be loved. Does juicing mean getting drunk and ready to do the booty? I don't know. Growing up was particularly strange if you were a musician. Seemed like you got to things faster than most kids. And it seemed like I was always around older kids. That's 'cause they were the ones who were in the bands. I was an advanced player. I was able to do more than most kids my age. Pause. I'm partial to artists, period. People that can move me without touching me. People that can lift me off the floor, have me float, and not even put their hands on me. That is my fucking weakness, child. You know, intelligence is also my weakness. He's explaining that he knows that musicians get to things quicker because they have that talent to move people and to move women. Underwear's off. School might have been a little slow for me. It never provided the challenge, say, of music. There wasn't much reading material around school other than what we got in class. There was no library. I needed challenges, and I'm sure that's why at school mechanics interested me. A mechanical problem, say breaking down an engine, could take days to figure. It was something I could get into, a way for me to lose myself. Same thing with music. I was intrigued by harmonics and arranging. Those things represented great challenges. The idea of writing for an entire band fascinated me. I wanted to learn how to compose parts for all the instruments, and I wanted to know how to make them bend. By the time I was 14, I could do it. I called off the various notes to someone who wrote them down part by part. I use the same method today when I want to write an arrangement. I do it in my head. I learned some other stuff at school. Dominoes and cards, for example. I even invented my own method of brailing the cards, and I'm still using it. We played crazy games like Dirty Hearts, Whiz, Tonk, Coon, Can, or Pity Pat. I wasn't a shark, but I could hold my own. I also learned to type. That's how I wrote letters home. We had old Underwoods, and I banged away. So between my life at home during the summers and my time in school during the winters, nothing was going too wrong. I was growing up. I was pretty popular among my classmates and among my teachers. I was a decent student, and I was learning and playing as much music as I possibly could. I was happy. Maybe you'll have a hard time believing it, but even blind kids can adjust and lead normal childhoods. It was in the middle of May of 1945 that my world suddenly changed. I was in school when they brought me the news. I had nothing to prepare me for the shock. There had been no warnings, no early signs. They just came and told me Mama was dead. They might have said that she was very sick. They might have said that she was calling for me. They might have said that she was in critical condition and needed me by her side. But they didn't say that. All they said was Mama was dead. She had died the night before. I was supposed to go home. She was going to be buried in the ground. Mama was dead. Nothing had ever hit me like that. Not George drowning, not going blind, nothing. No, this was something new. Mama had raised me, and now she was gone. I couldn't deal with that. And for a while, I went a little crazy. One of the commenters had said that I give addicts a hard time. That's bullshit. They must be like a, random commenter, or they're not here consistently, which is okay, because maybe every book I read is not your cup of tea, right? But let me explain to you something. After my mother died, I was OOC, out of control. My mother died, I want to say in 2008. Lost. Completely lost. I didn't know who I was or what the fuck I was doing. I had started doing things, okay? I'ma say, yeah. I definitely had a marijuana addiction. Definitely. I was doing edibles uncontrollably then. There was some other stuff too, But we'll talk about that later because I'm telling you, I'm going to write a book soon, right? But I was in the throes of addiction, I want to say from about 2012 to 2017, 16, 17, maybe 18. So for a good 4 years, I was out of there, buddy. Okay, let me pull it back. I slowed down in 2016, where I probably was only doing like just drinking. Okay. And then I told y'all that when I got Lulu, I had stopped doing everything because Lulu had became, my baby. But I was in it for a good minute. Between 2012 and 2018, I was out of there, buddy. Now, for some of you, you all might be like, her use did not warrant what some would call addiction. And I can see that. But for the fact that I know personally that when I started my day, let me eat a piece of this cookie so I can get through the day. That to me is a sign of addiction. When I got home from work, I found this particular cooler or wine cooler or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but I found this particular one that didn't give me migraines or headaches. Oh, Lou. Because I don't really drink because it gives me, like I said, migraines or headaches. But I found a particular wine cooler or something like that. Lulu makes me so sick when I'm working, y'all. That, I could drink that 1 or 2 or 3 when I got home from work and take me a little BC powder and go to sleep and get up and go to work on time. Because I've always been an early starter type person. I always was up by like 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that. I still prefer the early morning shift. But I found me a little cooler to drink instead of doing like edibles. All right. And like I said, to you all, it might be nothing. But to me, I recognize myself. This is something that I wouldn't have typically done if my mother was alive. And speaking on those coolers, I knew them coolers were bad for me because it contained sulfur. And baby, when I tell you I was having terrible reactions because I'm allergic to sulfur, I didn't care. I still wanted to drink. I popped me a Benadryl and I drank that cooler or 2 or 3. I was functioning, but I was trying to erase the pain. Okay? So when I joke about addiction, I'm joking about us because I'm mature enough to understand what I put myself through and what others sometimes put themselves through. Okay? So y'all can back up off me, whoever you commenter was, like I said, I may not respond to all your comments, but I definitely read them. What did I know about death? How could I understand it? I've heard about premonition and dreams of other people's death. That didn't happen with me. I had a lot of dreams as a kid, but not about death.